Hard to believe that we're already a third of the way through the inaugural One-Up Modified Motor Tour season, but here we are at race number 5, and for our only trip north of the border this season at the beautiful Jukasa Motor Speedway up in Canada. This is the longest oval on the schedule that we go to, and the second longest track overall, so the lap times are going to be higher, but I still expect these modifieds to put on an excellent show for 75 laps in front of these great fans here this afternoon. And alongside me to bring you all the action for today's racing action is none other than James Ellison, making his first appearance in the modified booth this season. Great to have you with us. So, for Jukasa, it's a very big and very spacious track for these modifieds. About 0.6 of a mile long, multi-groove racing from the top to the middle, and lots of opportunities to make something happen. And time is running out. We're not quite at the halfway point of the season, but we're getting awful close to it.
Yeah, and it's getting to be that time where we start to see just what each of these drivers has to offer, and we've seen some pretty good racing so far. I mean, watching it basically from the stands in a sense, I've been able to keep an eye on things and see how each driver does. And last time out, we had a real good show.
And I would expect more of the same here this afternoon at Jukasa. Go back to last time out at Huntsville, we had 3 or 4 caution flags, more than the entire those were our first yellows of the entire season, and we had 4 of them in one race. Hopefully we get some more clean and green racing this time around, but with these modified drivers, you just never know, especially when they rock up to a racetrack for the very first time. As we can now bring you the starting lineup for today's 75 laps of action. Colby Bogdansky gets his first career pole position today in the modifieds. He enters this race 9th in the points. He's finished top 10 in all but one race this season. He's looking forward to trying to get his first career win today, possibly. And he's got Archer Shriak alongside him. We've seen what he can do in the trucks. We've seen him in the modifieds do decently this season. He's still looking for his first top 10 of the year. Maybe it can come right here. Christian Van Heerden, the Dutchman, starts 3rd alongside Shriak's teammate Shane Silagi in the 57, with Luke Evans, the winner at South Boston, rounding out the top 5. And right behind them, we have Ashton Blevins, who's been a frequent contender for the championship all season long. He lines up 6th with Nicolas Santiago, his teammate, in 7th. But you got to go a little further back to find our championship leader, Seth Bayless, who has yet to win this season, but he's finished top 10 in every race this season, and that is why he leads the championship. He lines up 9th, alongside his teammate Jack Davis, who won last time out at Huntsville. So with that being said, we've got a lot of contenders at the front of the field, either looking to stake their claim or looking to continue their solid momentum, so I would expect a big fight at the front, and even in the midfield, all race long, wouldn't you say?
Oh, I would definitely agree. This ought to be interesting. I mean, we certainly hopefully aren't going to see what we saw at Huntsville, but I'd really like to see some real good extra races. You said plenty of room to work with on this, and it's the modified series still being in its inaugural season. We're still learning how these cars can handle on some of these tracks, but I've really enjoyed it so far and look forward to how this race will run.
Will we get our 5th different winner in the first 5 races, or will we get our first repeat? We've got 4 drivers at the front of the field looking for their first, and we'll see if one of them can take it, or if someone else behind will go for 2 wins. With that being said, though, we've got 24 cars ready to take the green flag, and we are ready to bring you that action now. It is the One-Up Modified Motor Tour from Jukasa Motor Speedway, and the green flag getting set to drop on the field and get this great race underway for these great fans. Getting set for some fun here at Jukasa. It is Bogdansky and Shriak on the front row. Green flag in the air. We're underway, and they're already diving it off into the first turn. I know this is the longest oval we go to, but it's still a short track at heart, and these guys are going to have to put their foot to the floor if they're going to make something out of this, as Bogdansky leads the charge into turn 3.
And Bogdansky doing a real good job there. He got the launch he needed, and he's already setting sail. But of course, then you got Shriak right behind him, just doing what he needs to do. And bit of a, no, I wouldn't say a hornet's nest, but it's certainly not settling down at the moment further back.
From pretty much 3rd on back, we've got a huge huge pile of cars doing battle. You see Luke Evans in this 93 car. He won at South Boston earlier this season. He is running the top lane, following Shane Stilagi through as Van Heerden in the 98. He started this race in third, but he's not there anymore because he's fallen to fourth behind the 57 as his teammate, the 75, sets off after the 25 of Bogdansky looking for the lead.
Yeah, we're only a handful of laps in, and these two cars are showing what they've got already, but hey, don't look now. Here comes the 57. He wants to have a say, even though we're still early on.
And Luke Evans as well. He's gone around the outside of Van Heerden, the Dutchman versus the British driver for fourth place on the road. And Evans looks like he's got a nose out ahead of the 98, but it's still early in this race. A lot is still on the cards. We still have 71 laps to go, coming to 70 at the line. But for Shane Stilagi and this entire race team, this has already been their best performance of the season so far. They've had up and down performances, especially with this 57. But so far, they've got both their cars on the podium looking for more as they try and set up a move on this 25, who's led every lap so far.
Yeah, and he's defending himself really well here, and this is exactly what he needs to do. It's like we've seen in the trucks, Nitro and Superstar. When you got the lead and you got somebody who's dogging you, you defend it. Sometimes that defense allows the person going on the attack for the lead, or whatever position it may be in general, to go ahead and wear their stuff out a little early, which it looks like we might have seen that out of the Shriock just now, but maybe he's decided to save some of his stuff for another attempt later.
Another guy who I think might be using his stuff up a little early is Van Heerden in the 98. The Dutch driver has lost a handful of spots since the start of the race. He started third. He's already fallen back now to sixth position behind Ashton Blevins, the Dominican having a very strong run in the 56. He's doing whatever he can to establish himself as a championship contender once again. He lost the points lead at Huntsville. He's looking to get it back here. So far, I think he's doing a pretty good job of it, up in the top 5, doing exactly what he needs to do. But the main question now becomes, how far up the field can that 56 car get?
Well, we're going to find out soon, or soon enough, I should say, because I'd say we're only about 10 laps into this race, and we're still going to have 65 to go, but plenty of time to find out what we can see out of this 56 and what his competitors will do to try to stop him.
As we take a look now through the field, you see Dallas Miller in the 83, Seth Bayless, the points leader going into today, in the 34. Both of these drivers have finished in the top 10 in every race this season so far, but they're not in the top 10 right now. So if that streak is going to continue, they're going to have to hustle, get past the 11 of Bershey directly ahead, and maybe even Nicolas Santiago ahead of him, because as they run right now, both of their top 10 streaks would come to an end here today.
And that's something that nobody wants to see, especially when they've had such a hot run like this. But sometimes things happen like that, but that doesn't mean you give up. It just means that if you can make it work and you can keep it alive, great, go on to the next race and keep going. But even if it doesn't work out, you still have the opportunity to keep going. One missed top 10 isn't going to be the end of the world, as we see someone on pit road.
Yeah, it's the 41 of Wayne Hovick. He's in a little bit of trouble here. We're hearing reports that something is leaking underneath that car. They're going to go underneath it, try and diagnose what is going on with this 41 car, and hopefully get him back out as soon as possible. But he's already lost a lap to the leaders, and I would expect he's probably going to lose another one by the time he gets back out there.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate break for him. He was started 19th, but now he's going to have to hope for a miracle in order to salvage some positions here. But at least he's not going to be out of the race. That gives him an opportunity should anything happen to people ahead of him.
Yeah, he did fail to finish at Huntsville, so he really couldn't afford this too much. As he gets back out on the racetrack, he is 2 laps down. He's going to need at least 2 yellow flags with him in the free pass position to get back on the lead lap in this scenario. And that's the odds of that are quite low, considering Huntsville may have been a one-off for yellow flags and their frequency, but we'll see. It's still early in this race. We're only on lap 17. This 41 is still going to try and fight for everything it can get in this race.
Oh, absolutely. You get 2 laps down. I've said this in other races I've been in the booth for. You don't give up just because you get lapped. Well, I may have not said it exactly like that, but you don't give up. I've never given up in all the races I've participated in, and it gets frustrating. Sure, it can be annoying, but at the same time, it can be motivation to at least keep going and hope that somebody else will have it worse than you.
Meanwhile, while that was going on, Colby Bogdansky has extended his lead now to a 2.5 seconds over Shriak in second. Ashton Blevins has also passed Luke Evans for 4th place, so this 56 car has gained another position since the start of the race, and he is on the charge. You go back to few races ago at the Nashville Fairgrounds, I believe it was. He started that race anyway, down in about 11th to 13th, and he made his way up to 2nd by the end of it, so do not count out that 56 for a podium position or maybe even a race win by the end of the day, as it looks like we're looking right now at the man who's got the fastest lap at the moment, that being Sean McHale in the 22. He is a teammate to the race leader, Bogdansky.
Yeah, that's good for McHale right now, but we've seen it happen in many a race. Just because you get the fastest lap doesn't mean you get to keep it. There's no guarantee that you're going to get to keep it, but if you can, that's a bonus point for you. If you can do it while winning the race and potentially even lead the most laps, that is an excellent day. But no race is ever the same for anybody.
No, and right now it looks like Blevins is starting to close in on the 2 team cars directly ahead of him, of Shriak and Zilagi. So what we've got going on right here is a 3-car battle for second, but if they keep battling for that position, it's going to allow Bogdansky to just extend his lead more and more. It's up to 2 seconds already. So if Blevins really has the best car in the field, he's going to need to dispatch of these two very quickly if he's going to have an opportunity to challenge the 25 for the win.
Yeah, that's really important in any series you run. If you're going to have a shot at getting at the leader and you feel like you got the best car in the field, you got to get past people in a hurry if you're going to have a hope of getting up there and being in the lead if you're not already there. And if you're already there, you got to make sure you stay the fastest car on the track and don't get out-strategized on the pit cycles on tracks that you get those.
Which we will not get here. These modifieds are not meant to be to receive service mid-race, so we should be seeing these guys go the entire distance all the way just fine. But one thing that is going to be a factor today, if this race stays green long enough, is that eventually Colby Bogdansky will catch up to the back of the field and start putting them a lap down. Once that happens, I would expect these 3 and possibly even the 2 behind them to really close that gap in a hurry.
Yeah, and that's going to be huge for Bogdansky. If he starts getting held up by lap traffic, oh, you know it. We've seen it time and again in every series that this league runs. You get in a lap traffic. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it helps. It just depends on how you catch the traffic, and it also can depend on the type of track too. We've seen plenty of short tracks like this one, where lap traffic made things difficult for the leader, and sometimes that can cost them the victory. But for Bogdansky, he's hoping that's not the case.
Because he's already got a nearly 2.5 second lead over second place Shriak. It's pretty much right there at 2.5 seconds right now. So he just needs to extend that lead as much as he possibly can so that when he does catch the lap traffic, he can afford to take his time with them. As this looks like it's the first side-by-side battle on the racetrack currently between Van Heerden and Jack Davis in their fight for what will be 7th.
Yeah, and we talked about Jack Davis and how he was the winner at Huntsville. Continuing top 10s after a win, or continuing a top 10 streak after a win is definitely an important thing, because Because even if it's not another win in a row, it's still momentum going your way, and that's always something we look for, especially for those who are having great seasons, like some of the ones we talked about in the pre-race, including some of the ones we're looking at right now. But it's gonna be interesting to see if Davis can get any higher than this. But I'd imagine he'll be pretty content with his result if he can stay in the top 10.
One person who I don't think will be happy about the result that he would get if he finishes where he is right now is Seth Bayless in the 34, a teammate to that 45 up there. Because Bayless entered this race as the points leader, but as they run right now, he would lose that points lead to Ashton Blevins once again. So Bayless really needs to get a move on here because he's kind of stuck at the back of that train led by the 98. And if he's going to get a move on to try and get back up into that top 10, he needs to start making passes with a lot more frequency.
And you talk about that 98. That 98 is still holding station there after losing a few spots, but I'd imagine that the frustrations, at least I should hope the frustrations don't boil over here and turn into our next caution in the series, because nobody likes to see tempers create an issue.
But meanwhile, while we were talking about that, and as we see Ashton Blevins now send one up the inside of the 57 for third place, Colby Bogdansky has extended his lead to 3 seconds now over the 75 of Shriak, and it looks as though Blevins is going to make the pass to move up into third. So Blevins is on a great tear right now. He started 6th, he's already up to third. Only 2 more cars to go till he gets to the position he really wants.
And he's going to really work for that last one, because, like you said, now he's got a 3.3 second lead. About to see here at the line if it's grown, which I would expect it has.
Pretty much stabilized at about 3.4 seconds. But it's still a really good run out of this 25, and he really needs one considering the downturn he had at Huntsville where he faced a DNF, his first of the season out there. So it's going to be really tough to see if Bogdansky can hold on, but he's doing a fantastic job of it right now, and his lead is just getting stronger and stronger the more laps he puts down, as we're already at the halfway point, just past it, the halfway point of this race.
Yeah, now starting on lap 40, which, the lead grows yet again as Evans is trying everything he can to figure out a way to get by the 75 of Shriak, but this, I think we may be looking at, and they're going to hate me for saying this, pending any potential issues, we are looking at the best chance to catch up to the Bogdansky right here, at least in the 56, if he can get by the 75.
Yeah, for Blevins, he really needs to put the foot down, find a way past the 75, and start making a charge after Colby Bogdansky, especially if the 25 gets caught in lap traffic, which we expect he will by the end of this race, as the lead pretty much stays the same now at about 3.5 seconds. They're barely even on the same straightaway anymore, so this 25 is on a really good run, because keep in mind, a 3.5 second lead here at Jukasa is very different than a 3.5 second lead you'd see at a road course, for example.
Road course races, yeah, we talk about how that works. If a 3.5 second lead at a road course, depending on what might happen to the leader, you may not have a chance to catch back up. Anyway, here, if you've got a fast enough car and you can play your cards right, like Blevins is trying to do, if he can get by the 75, that pesky 75, he might be able to have a shot. The longer it takes him to get by the 75 of Shriak, the harder it's going to be, the less likely it's going to be for him to catch the 25.
Yeah, we'll see what the lead is at the line this time by. It's grown to 3.8 seconds, and Blevins is now 4 seconds off the lead. So for this 56, this is as close as he's gotten to that 75 all day long, but he really needs to start forcing the issue here, putting a nose under that 75, trying to get him out of the groove, and try and move him up to see if he can get that second place before it's too late.
Yeah, You saw he tried to put a little pressure on Triok there, but there wasn't nothing for it here. As for a second, it looked like they were slowing down, but it was just the camera angle. But yeah, Blevins has got to try to figure out something. He may have to use what little bit of bumper he has to try to make something happen, but he's got to be careful if he does that.
Yeah, because these cars do not like wheel-to-wheel contact. They will launch if that happens. But I would expect them to know better than that at this point in the season. But for Colby Bogdansky, his lead is now over 4 seconds over Archer Shriak. And I just got to reiterate, this team is having a fantastic race today. That 75 and the 57, even if he's fallen back to 4th, that team is still having a really good day. This is by far their best combined performance of the season to this point.
Yeah, I got to give them applause for this. They put themselves in a good position. They got a good qualifying setup. Starting pretty much where they're running right now, and it's paying off so far as we start seeing a little bit of work going on right here through the field. Some potential pressure for people on positioning.
Yeah, but look, this 57 wants to regain a spot on the podium to get past this 56, because I think Blevins is starting to heat up his tires a bit more than he wants to, stuck behind that 75 for so long. And look, the 57's on the attack, trying to get by the 56 for 3rd place, as we have now only 25 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, and for Blevins, he's now down to 5 seconds and 1 car between him and 1st place. It's looking bleaker and bleaker as we are now. We just passed the 2/3 mark in this race. It's roughly 2/3 mark in this race. It's going to be harder for him to handle unless we get something big happen to make things happen. Like lap traffic, we're starting to see it getting in the Bogdansky's front window here.
Yeah, and keep in mind as well, that battle that's going on for 2nd place, it's starting to heat up because Luke Evans and Sean McHale, they have caught this battle. Look, there they are. They have caught up, and there's now 5 cars under a blanket for 2nd place, separated by about a 1.5 seconds. Those 5 cars are all going to be doing battle for a spot on the podium. Meanwhile, Bogdansky can just focus on what's in front of him because he's got a nearly 5-second lead out front, and he is going to now have to deal with a few lap cars, being Andronico and Salyers up ahead of him.
And that's, I gotta say, Salyers is probably happy to see another vehicle, but he's probably also not happy to know that that's the leader right behind him, because it's just been one of those days for him where he just rides in the back, but he's keeping it clean. That's going to be something for him, even if he ends up a lap down at the end of this.
And he's probably not going to finish last, because Wayne Hovick in the 41 is still 2 laps down and in no real danger of getting a free pass anytime soon. So for Bogdansky, this is where things get a little difficult. His lead is now 5 seconds, but he has now officially caught the tail end of the field. And he's going to have to work hard to try and find a way past the 5 and the 99, because we'll see what the lead looks like at this lap. It's gone down by about half a tenth. I would expect that to grow exponentially, the gains, as Bogdansky now tries to get underneath Salyers to put him a lap down.
Yeah, he's not wasting any time. He knows the longer he waits on these two, the better chance it is for those behind him to get to him. But it all depends on how hard he has to fight and how much they slow him down, which obviously Salyers ain't going to be doing much to hold him up.
And Shriak gained 0.3 seconds that last time by. But the good news for Bogdansky, he's already cleared 1 hurdle in the form of the 5 car of Salyers, and now he's just got 1 more to go in the form of Andronico in the 99, as the gap has been shrunk by another 0.2 seconds. These guys are starting to pick up momentum and starting to gain on Bogdansky, who has dominated this race from the beginning, but if he keeps stuck behind these lap cars for too long, these guys will be on him.
Yeah, but he has one advantage right now, and that is a 1-car cushion, which, depending on where second on back to 6 catches up to Salyers, that if they do catch up to him, that could really play a factor here, as he's finally going to the inside of the 99 here, that being Bogdansky.
Yep, so that is going to be his second hurdle to get over, and I think that's going to be the last one he really needs to worry about in this race. And keep in mind as well, like you alluded to earlier, once Bogdansky deals with these two lap cars and puts them between himself and the chasing pack, those guys back there, they're also going to have to deal with them. So if Bogdansky is able to get by these guys in a relatively quick fashion, that's probably going to be his race one, because these two are going to hold up the chasing pack just as much, if not more.
Yeah, we're just under a 4-second gap now, but I'd imagine that'll start growing again once Bogdansky clears the 99, which
it's already
in the next lap or two.
It's down to 3.5 seconds. The lead is, and this 99 is not giving up the fight until just now. Bogdansky finally clears the lap cars and is now going to try and reestablish his lead once again, because it's now down to 3.4 seconds. I just can't help but wonder, now that he's cleared that lap traffic, if this race has just fallen into his lap now, because Shriak and Blevins and the others, they're going to have to deal with those lap cars too, if they even get there, as we come to 11 laps to go this time.
And we lost another 10th there, but I think that can be contributed to the fact that Bogdansky just finished getting past those lap cars. But I would say, give it a little bit of time, he might be able to reestablish his lead back to what he had it at, or somewhere close to it, as we're now at 10 to go.
And even if he doesn't reestablish a 5-second lead, he's still got 3.5 back to Shriak, so he should be plenty fine to keep this lead to the end, because they're not going to catch him. Even if they catch the lap cars, they're going to have to spend a handful of laps dealing with them, and we only have a handful of laps left in this race to run. I think, barring a major issue for this 25 car, he's got it made right now.
Yeah, this is his race to lose, and honestly, I think he's just on cruise. He's not pushing the issue. He's clear of lap traffic. He's got a 2-lap car cushion. He doesn't have to worry about Shriak getting to him that easily. So I'd say, I think the biggest concern for anyone in the top 5 right now would be Shriak having to worry about Blevins getting by him, if that can be done.
And McHale as well. He's trying to get up to 4th place, and just to check in on McHale, he still has the fastest lap of the race. He actually bettered his previous time by a few hundredths of a second, so he has still got that bonus point in his pocket, and that's a really good day for him. But you're right, Blevins is still trying to get up to 2nd place, because that's still worth a few more points, and he needs as many of those as he can get at this point in the season. We're coming to 5 laps to go this time by.
5 to go, and I would say they may not catch up to the 99 and the 5 before the checker flag, but they might be right on him by it, which I do not think Bogdansky is going to mind at all.
As we take a quick look through the field here, see where everybody else is at. But Bogdansky, he's just on a cruise right now. At this point in the race, he's going to take 4 laps to go when he gets to the line right here. He's still got a 3.5-second lead. This hasn't been... once he's got his main challenge this race was getting by those lap cars, because he has put on an absolute clinic today. And I know we've seen a lot of races this season already where the leader is led flag to flag, but it's not without reason. These guys who win these races by leading every lap, they deserve to win these races.
Yeah, they just show that they got arguably the best car in the field each race that's been won that way, and it's definitely showing true for Bogdansky today. He got the pole, and he got a good launch on the green flag, and now here we are coming up on the final 2 laps, and it's going to be, I'd say, yeah, we're on 2 to go now. It's his, like I said already, it's his race to lose. He's pretty much got it made as long as nothing happens.
A 4.5-second lead. This could be the biggest margin of victory we've seen this season up to this point, as Bogdansky now takes the white flag. We've got 1 lap to go, and he has driven a faultless race today, it has to be said. Colby Bogdansky, who He finished out of the top 10 for the first time this season. Last time out at Huntsville with a big crash there, but he's going to make up for that now as he comes through 3 and 4 for the final time. It'll be Colby Bogdansky with a perfect day here at Jukasa, flag-to-flag victory for his first in the modifieds. And look at this, Blevins and Shriak side by side at the line, settled in favor of the 75, who just barely holds off Blevins for second place.
Yeah, you can't fault Blevins there. He was trying. He made an effort for it, but that 75, Shriak, he was not going to be denied. He started second, finished second. You can't... You talked about him and his teammate. They held on and had a great finish to the race, finishing where they started. You can't argue with that. And as we were grateful for incident-free, which, caution causing incident-free anyway.
Yep, and Nicolas Santiago, we're looking at him now. He's going to be second in the points after this, because with that 10th place today, he's actually now the only driver in the Modified Motor Tour to have finished in the top 10 in every race this season. So he is going to be looking forward to some time off to regroup, recuperate, and get ready for the next race, which will take place in about a month and a half's time. So with that being said, from James Ellison and from myself as well, thanks for joining us north of the border for a great race at Jukasa. We'll see you again in about a month and a half's time when we head out west to Bakersfield, California, to Mesa Marin Speedway. That is going to be a lot of fun to see these guys do battle around that half-mile track. It's going to be a lot of fun. We hope to see you there, but until we see you there, so long from Jukasa, and a big congratulations are in order for Colby Bogdansky, who led every lap of this race en route to a nearly 5-second victory, the biggest margin we have had all season long.